when we are working with Git, there might be situations where we have multiple repositories and they are supposed to be handled by different users. For example, in this case, I have repository A, 1 that is handled by user A, and repository 2 handled by user B. This situation can happen in, for example, when you are doing freelancing, you have different organizations to work for, or you just want to separate your personal GitHub with your company or like work GitHub. In order to do that, well, it's actually very straightforward. As in, this is a very good example of how we can do the setup step by step. Just want to do a quick sharing. First of all is using the ssh-keygen. So you can do this keygen trsa, and from here you can use user A at for example, this is the email that you are logging in, right? So you need to generate 2 keys. So first one is for the first user and second one is for the second user. When you are generating it, you need to specify the name of the the SSH key file that you are going to save into. If not, there will be conflicting names, and you can actually customize it like this, user A or user B, so that you won't forget what is this key for in the future, right? So we have this as a first file and then user B as a second file. Well, I cannot do like step by step. Actually I can, but I think I will do a text file here, and then I will copy the command over to the description, so you can copy it, like copy paste it and run in your PC. Okay, so after generating both, the key thing about it is right, so it will be you have 2 files being generated, right? User a.pub is a public key, and then you'll have user b.pub. So a total of 4 files will be generated inside your .ssh, this .ssh folder. Yep. So after you see all these 4 files ready, you can start assigning them to individual domain name. Like this is a host. It feels like a host file, but basically what you need to do is you can go to the .ssh folder, and then from here 3 toggle. Okay, now I have my files ready, right? I wonder how can I make this bigger. Okay, anyway, so you have got this ready. So you need to create a config file. So this is a file, not a folder. You create a file and then put in the code here, this block of code, copy and paste it to your config folder, and now you can do the customization. So this command I can remove that. This is not this example one. Okay, so what does this lines mean? Okay, let me try to make it bigger. Oh, honestly it can't be bigger, isn't it? Oh, okay. I think I can make it bigger. Just give me a moment. Actually I can't. Anyway, okay. So I will explain it like generally what I know, what I understand about this, right? So first is this is the any kind of link that you can put as a host. So this is for the config file to know that, oh, when I encounter the domain name here, for example wing8169.github.com, resolve it to become the host github.com, but I want to use the SSH key that I generated for this user. So this is the path to the SSH private key file, right? By doing this, what you'll see is that if you have many users, then yeah, you can do like however many you have, but the host needs to be unique. You specify the host, and then you specify the private key file path in this config file. And I believe that if you want to resolve it to, like, if github.com resolve it to using a default SSH key, you can do it by deleting the first line and then do like this. So delete the first chunk of your username and become it github.com. So whatever things that is pointing to github.com will be using this identity file, right? This private key file. But for my case, I will want it to be, oh shit, the auto save, isn't it? Or I accidentally press save. Okay, I want it to be win8169. Alright, so after you have this config file in place, let me just copy this in. To copy it is like this: create a config file. Shit, I'm not able to yank it. Yank the entire thing. Paste. Alright. So afterwards is you need to then have a folder that you have your repository. Yeah, just cd to your repository and set up your upstream. So for example, this is not a Git repo yet. I'm just going to init it, and then I'm going to create a readme.md file. This is for testing, for sharing Git multiple accounts. Save it. Okay. Then I have now inside my folder I have one file. I'm going to add it, and so before I add and commit, whatever Git commit that I do, I want it to be handled by a specific user, like when it's shown in the Git history. So before I do any sort of commit, I'll need to then, okay, this is actually very long, but basically the key thing is I need to do git config user.name, set my name, and then git config user.email to set my email. For example, okay, so now I have my user name and email set already. I want to set my upstream, add it, and then commit like the first commit. Okay, now we have the thing in place. You can check by using git log. Basically, using git log, you can see the author is supposed to be the name that you intended, and also the email if you don't want to mix it with your global Git email setting. Okay, so after this is done, then the final thing that you need to do is create a repository. For example, I go to my repository and then just create a new repository called Git sharing, and just create. Right, now you can see this is the SSH URL. So this is the URL you want to use, but on top of that, there's a very magical thing. Just now we have put in the host and like with different domain name, right? So we can do things like git. Okay, if you are cloning the existing repository, you can use git clone and put in the URL. If you are using, you have the code already, you want to push to GitHub, then you can use git remote add origin, or add whatever name lah. The origin is the standard name that usually we use. But before you do the cloning like this, you just edit it with a bit of your code. github.com becomes win8169.github.com. So by doing this, you allow the SSH key, the config to understand that this win8169.github.com can be resolved into github.com with using this SSH key. It's kind of magical because it's doing things under the hook, but it does work, right? So it will resolve it for you. The remaining thing remain the same. Just change the name, this domain name, to the host that you have set in the config file. So what I want to do is just paste the thing. I accidentally copied some invisible text. Okay, git push origin head main. So the intended behavior is that I'll push it. I'll be able to access it, push it to my main, And yes, this is how it works. So let's repeat the step again. First of all, you have multiple users. This is the problem statement. Generate the private and public key for both users. Expected you have 4 files. Put them all in the .ssh folder. Create a config file. Put in the host and also what is supposed to point to, the ssh key file that is supposed to point to. And finally, do your setting it upstream by using git clone or using git remote at origin. Then with the host that you have specified earlier on, by doing that, you're good to go. Oh yeah, final step, like setting the username and email in the repository. Well, that's all for the sharing that I want to do. A quick sharing for today. Thanks.